Hi there, friends. Thanks for joining us for this weekend edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Theodore Henry. Today we'll be looking at the electronic traffic ticket management system. As usual, being health-wise is also on the agenda, and we explore climate-smart farming for sustainability. Stick around for these and more interesting features right after this important message.
Do you own land and need a title? Well, the National Land Agency, NLA, can help. Through the systematic land registration process, the NLA will assist residents to get titles in declared project areas across Jamaica. Systematic land registration is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as systematic adjudication area. For further information on the systematic land registration process, including declared systematic adjudication areas, who can apply and the benefits, visit the National Land Agency's website at www.nla.gov.jm or email asknla@nla.gov.jm. The National Land Agency, one goal.
Government has been advancing the use of technology to create efficiency in the system of governance, including traffic management. We begin our journey inside Jamaica Magazine with a look at the new electronic traffic ticketing system.
With the full rollout of the system, the issue of undocumented traffic tickets across relevant agencies will become a thing of the past. The streamlined and integrated process is an upgrade from the 12-year-old traffic ticket management system. Once the traffic ticket is generated using the handheld device, the information will be available immediately to all stakeholders.
As we seek to improve the efficiency of our traffic enforcement operations, Major Technology Transformation Branch of the Ministry of National Security has led the process of transforming the traffic ticketing management system into an end-to-end digitized ticketing system. The e-ticketing system is indeed a fully integrated, modernized mobile traffic ticketing system that supports all the agents that are involved in traffic enforcement. The end-to-end digitization of ticketing system will go live on February 1, 2023. And we're appealing, therefore, to motorists to take note of a new system and a new date. Not only will it increase the efficiency of the public safety and traffic enforcement officers by ensuring that motorists who break the law receive with immediacy the prescribed consequence, but importantly, it will nullify also speculation, corruption, and avoidance. I implore all the motorists with outstanding tickets to make arrangements to have them paid by January 31st. As of the 31st of January, you will not be able to hide from being held accountable. Pay your tickets now. The government has agreed, and the appropriate resolution brought to Parliament to do two things. One, all tickets that are given before the 1st of February 2018 will have an amnesty. They're not being taken into account, and that resolution brought to Parliament. Tickets that have been paid between the 1st of February 2018, that's closure, brought to those tickets, until the 31st of January, will have all their demerits points expunged. All their demerit points, which allow for their license to be suspended or sometimes a period of time or other penalties executed based by the ITA, will be expunged. But we are not granting an amnesty for that period. You must pay your tickets for having breached the law.
With research showing that there are approximately 3,000 offenders, persons are urged to make use of the Saturday and night court sittings to settle outstanding tickets.
If you're not closed by the 31st of January, all the penalties will carry on into the new era, as well as the additional penalties to be brought in now by the implementation or the beginning of the Road Traffic Act of 2018. The regulation will now be coming to force on the 1st of February 2023. So take advantage of this window of opportunity that has been provided by the government. Pay your outstanding tickets. The enhanced ticketing system guarantees that tickets and related information in the TTMS system will be accurate and readily available. It will lead to significant improvement in public order and safety as we are able to bring discipline to our roadways, and that's among the primary purposes of what we're doing.
Jamaica's COVID-19 vaccination plan is still in effect. If you wish to make an appointment, please do so online by visiting moh.gov.jm or by calling 888-663-5683. Vaccination still a keep. Go get your jab today.
Diabetes is a chronic disease that, if left unchecked, can cause damage to the heart, vision loss, and liver disease. HealthWise explores the holistic management of this condition.
Diabetes is a serious chronic lifestyle disease affecting millions of people over the world and continues to increase. Diabetes affects how your body turns food into energy. It is a disease in which your blood glucose or blood sugar levels are too high, and glucose comes from the food you eat. Insulin is a hormone that helps the glucose get into your cells to give energy. Sometimes your body doesn't make enough or any at all, doesn't make any insulin, and so it doesn't use the insulin well. Glucose then stays in your blood and doesn't reach your cells. Over time, having too much glucose in your blood can cause complications. Example, situations with the kidney, heart disease, and so on. Although diabetes has no cure, there are steps you can take to manage your diabetes and stay healthy.
It is through lifestyle that we manage the risk of diabetes. Those behaviors include increased physical activity, a healthy diet, routine health checks, and strict adherence to medication. The ministry will be championing the cause of persons living with diabetes. We have updated our clinical management guidelines, which is now available on our website, and we will be working on increasing access to testing through the introduction of point-of-care testing. This methodology of testing is the gold standard for monitoring and control of diabetes. Our agency, the National Health Fund, will continue to support persons through the provision of diabetic medication and supplies, and I encourage persons with diabetes to enroll in the NHF card program to access this benefit.
The person with diabetes should really have an opportunity to sit down with a trained clinician who is able to help them to understand the concepts of diabetes self-management, education, and support. There are 4 core areas the patient must begin to understand. How and when to take medication. That's the first one. If you take insulin, then you need to know how does your insulin work and how do you eat in relation to the insulin. Then there are the people who have type 2 diabetes, which commonly start off with education on activity and just healthy nutrition. And then we add 1 of 5 classes of oral agents. And then we teach them how to make food, how to eat food. Also, we think of things like target blood pressure. Is your weight healthy, or do you need to lose a little weight? And most importantly, how do you feel? What is your quality of life? All of this is what we focus on. Also, when you get your lab work done, what is your hemoglobin A1C? The target should be 7% or less. Keep that number in your mind. Diabetes damages the feet, the kidney, and the eyes at first, and then eventually we also find it can cause coronary vascular disease too. But for foot care, the person with diabetes every day, you wash your feet, wash them properly. Dry your feet, dry between the toes. Moisturize your feet, but do not put moisturizer between the toes. Make sure that you wear cotton socks, right? If you're going to have your toes cut by somebody trained who knows how to cut them. Examine your feet every day. Do not walk barefoot. Please, please, please do not walk barefooted, because if you injure or cause trauma to the feet, you may not feel it because your diabetes has damaged the nerves to the feet. And finally, when you buy shoes that are comfortable and that you can wear without causing blisters or trauma to the feet. Now we have research that shows that I can prevent the eye damage, the kidney damage, the foot damage, and the amputations by just keeping my blood glucose under control and taking care of myself.
There's no such thing as a diabetic diet, but it's all about how much I eat, the timing of my meals. So it's your portion sizes is what is important. Now, what we do recommend is that persons eat at least 3 balanced meals per day and small snacks. Snacks usually mean smaller, more nourishing meals, which we usually recommend that it be your fruits, your vegetables, or you can also use your nuts. Each meal or snack should contain protein because we need it to be balanced as well. Each meal should contain at least your protein and your fat. And we also want them to select a variety of foods from all the food groups. So there is some recommendations about the amount of fruits that you should eat per day. We usually say 2 to 3 servings. We want you to include a variety of vegetables daily. We also want you to include more peas, beans, and nuts in your daily meals. Reduce your intake of salty and processed foods, and to reduce your intake of fats and oils and that of sugary foods and drinks. You aim for foods that have high sources of fiber, such as your whole wheat bread, whole grain rice, flour, more of your ground provisions. They will give you fiber, right? And that will slow down the rate at which your body breaks down the food, so you won't have a rapid increase in your blood sugar levels versus if you eat foods that are low in these added fibers. When you're having alcohol as a person living with diabetes is not to have it on an empty stomach, because it gives the risk of lowering your blood sugar. And also what we want you to do is that once you have diabetes, we do not really recommend the mixed drinks, so as to say, because they usually have a sweetened base. For women, it's usually you can have a drink per day, and for men is no more than 2 drinks. And what is a drink? Usually for beer, it's not more than 12 ounces. And for like a shot, it's usually a shot, which is about 1.5 ounces. And for wine, recommendation is usually about 5 ounces thereabout.
There are several researches that have shown that physical activity, when done properly, for persons who are diabetic, again, you heard it, allows you to use up glucose. For children, the recommendation is at least 60 minutes, 5 days a week of moderate to vigorous activity, and it must be a combination of muscle and bone strengthening activity. That's the recommendation for our children. For adults, it's at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week to get some health benefit, meaning increased circulation, reduce stress. And for the elderly, it's at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week. If you're a diabetic patient, these are some of the activities that are very good for you. Swimming, jogging, dancing, these activities, they're not very vigorous. You maintain them at a low to moderate pace, and it's a very effective way of managing and controlling your blood glucose or your blood sugar. If you are going to start a physical activity program, that you check with your doctor before you start, because if you have a condition, if you're diabetic, hypertensive, you have any other medical condition, your doctor will determine the intensity level, the type of activities that you can do.
Persons living with diabetes mellitus have multiple psychosocial issues related to diabetes management and its complications even before COVID. And there's an entity called diabetic distress. It refers to the negative emotions, such as feeling hopeless, angry, or frustrated that persons who are diagnosed with diabetes experience, especially if they lack social support. I must mention we have the mental health helpline, which is 888-639-5433, or simply remember 888-NEW LIFE, which is a 24-hour, 7 days per week psychological support produced by psychologists. When you call this number, They can provide emotional support for you. If you are feeling any form of emotional distress, they can provide support for you. And where you need additional help, they will direct you to additional help.
Jamaicans consume on average 9 to 12 grams of sodium or salt per day, twice the World Health Organization recommended amount of less than 5 grams or 1 teaspoon of salt, and more ideally, less than 2 grams of sodium per adult per day from all food sources. This excess salt in the diet causes high blood pressure, kidney and bone damage, gastric cancer, obesity, and worsening of asthma. Reduce the amount of salt you consume to no more than 3 to 5 grams, or half to 1 teaspoon per day for adults, and less than 2 grams for children under 11 years of age. Let's shake the salt habit and live healthy. A public service message from the Jamaica Information Service.
In pursuing that aspiration of a safe and secure country, we have passed in this House the new Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulations Act. We call it the new Firearms Act, and it is now in force. It is a key feature of the response to the current threat level. We have put in place a gun amnesty, which was introduced, came into effect on the 5th of November and ran for a period of 2 weeks, which expired on the 19th of November. But even while the amnesty was ongoing, the security forces within that 2-week period recovered 22 illegal firearms. It is unfortunate that a 15-year-old was among those who were caught in possession of an illegal firearm. That 15-year-old was in the company of a 23-year-old. These are some of the harsh consequences that the society has to face. We have to address it, because even though we all want to ensure that our young people are protected, the facts are that our young males in particular have been sucked into a gun culture. I am sorry for him, and I wish that he did not have to face this fate. But we have to put our feet down firmly. Let that 15-year-old be an example for the thousands of young 15-year-old young men who are contemplating getting an illegal gun, using an illegal gun, locking an illegal gun. This law will save thousands of young Jamaicans.
Climate change and severe weather patterns threaten agriculture and food security globally. But before we arrive at the end of our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine, let's look at how we can build resilience in the agriculture sector to ensure our food and nutrition security.
With a degree of increasing urgency on our actions to combat fast rising temperatures and slow sea levels eroding closer inland, what we do about climate change today will matter. The effects of climate change are far-reaching, and food security is one of the areas affected. As protecting our food security remains a high-level priority, climate-smart agriculture takes on increasing importance. This way of harvesting food uses better farming practices to reduce its contributions to greenhouse gas emissions, while increasing production output. Smart agricultural practices include reducing deforestation, better soil management, and intercropping. Climate-smart agriculture practices are intended to achieve 3 major outcomes. 1. Increased productivity. More food is needed to feed the global population as it continues to grow exponentially. equally important is ensuring sustainable incomes for farmers, distributors, and key players driving the agriculture industry. Data from the World Bank indicates that 75% of the world's poor who live in rural areas rely on agriculture for their livelihoods. Number 2. Resilience to climate change threats. Increasing severe weather conditions caused by a warmer Earth means more drastic impact on agriculture output. To prevent this from happening, farmers can implement these practices, changing crops and livestock to ones better suited to the climate, and using technology to develop resistant variations of foods such as rice and bean plants. 3. Reduce greenhouse gas emissions caused by farming inputs such as fertilizers. Sharply reducing the use of fertilizers that produce gases such as carbon dioxide and nitrogen through crop rotation practices is one green-checked option. To truly practice proper climate-smart techniques, the dialogue must be tailored to the different climate experiences across the world. In Jamaica's context, areas of major concern include the island's vulnerability to hurricanes, flooding, and droughts. The government has been implementing several programs at the community and national levels in partnership with regional and international agencies. The mission is to build climate resilience in Jamaica's agriculture sector.
We are investing $230,000 US in partnership with the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, for a pilot program on climate resilience, on the expansion and upgrading of seed storage facility at the Bodles Research Station. This is important. This facility is going to house the best quality seeds, including our own seed source from locally developed and indigenous landrace types for vegetables, cover crops, field crops, and legumes.
The Bodles Research Station is just one aspect of Jamaica's strategic plan to ensure sustainable crop production through proper seed storage. Planting crops conducive to the rainy and dry season is another climate-resilient food security measure.
Our goal is to encourage our farmers to plant more, but not just to plant more. We want to plant the heat and drought-tolerant varieties of crops, such as cassava, which are more suitable for our climate.
In the fisheries sector, several fish sanctuaries have been declared and fish farmers trained. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Forage Club recently partnered with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP to train 600 youth farmers and fishers on how to utilize agriculture practices that will withstand climate change and how to recover quickly from its impact. The 6-month pilot project will run from September 2022 to February 2023. A major part of implementing smarter farming practices is the collaboration of all partners involved in this sector. As more information emerges, followed by more robust action on climate change policies from countries across the globe, the agriculture sector will be in a better position to meet the food production demand.
Effective customer service is important in all government entities that provide services to the public. The most basic customer interaction can affect an organization's reputation and their customer relationships. Here are 7 elements of service excellence that will improve your service delivery. Timeliness and effectiveness. Service providers must provide prompt and accurate service in a timely manner. Effective communication. Appropriate channels should be provided to make information readily accessible and collect customer feedback. Proficiency and competency. Service providers must have the relevant technical expertise and customer service skills to satisfy the customer's needs. Responsiveness. Service providers must be quick to adapt and adopt changes to improve service to customers. Customer and people-centric. Service providers must identify and respond to the needs of their customers, whether through technological or environmental changes. Professionalism. The acceptable behaviors and attitudes that form the culture of the organization should include respect and courtesy to all customers. Service standards. Government-wide standards should be developed by the public sector and applied to each ministry, department, or agency for which the organization should be held accountable. All government entities should use the Service Excellence Policy to guide service delivery and establish a culture of service excellence in the public sector. To access the Service Excellence Policy, please visit the Public Sector Modernization Division's website today.
And this is where we end today's journey inside Jamaica Magazine. Be sure to join us tomorrow for another show. Until then, there is more to watch by visiting our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care and live well.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.